Thank you. Yeah, it's Savitri. I'm from the zoo in Amsterdam, but actually I'm currently in Antwerpen. And after this meeting, I'm going to visit the zoo of Antwerp. So that's also a little bit of exchange there. And I feel at home to be with you because my roots and my origins are both in Olomouc for my grandfather's side and in Kozice for my grandmother's side. So I feel at home to be amongst some of you. And that's I'm working in the Zoo of Amsterdam as a sustainability manager. So water is one of the topics that I'm working on. We do have water management and we do have vision and mission on where we want to be. But also, in all honesty, it's not as urgent as, for example, our energy transition is. So it's always still the sort of battle to get the right investments to work on our water system. And also, apart from that, we are a zoo with 186 years of heritage, which gives a lot of challenges with the environment, with the permits, with, for example, drilling is not really an option in the city center of Amsterdam. And we are very much in a residential area, so we also have to work with our neighbors and resident citizens to get the right permits to do interventions there. So we are a very small zoo, 14 hectares. I've seen the average zoos are a bit bigger, and again we're in the city center and 186 years. That gives quite some challenges. But I think we're now on the right track. We have been working quite a lot with the municipality, and I think that's also unique in the way that we are currently collaborating. So Amsterdam is a city in and on water. So water is all around. We have canals on every side of the city. For those of you who have been here, you might know that we're very close to the sea. So we get water from the sea into the city, and then the water management agency is managing the right levels of water in the canals. And we found a way to collaborate with the city of Amsterdam so that we actually also use canal water for aquathermal energy, for example, to heat our buildings. But also to fill the basins of our animal enclosures. So the municipality is a very important collaborator for us. They do scans, as you can see now on the screen, every 5 years, where they look at urgence of rainwater challenging areas, for example. I don't have a pointer, but you can see in the city center, this is the city center, that we have a very green area with some orange lines around this. That is where our zoo is located. Now I see a pointer, thank you. So from all of the city center Amsterdam, and you see one orange is at risk. Red is really alert, but you see the one and the second red one are already solved over the last 5 years. So I think if we can go to the next slide, you can see the 5 years after map, where you can see that we are still in a risk area in where the zoo is located. Yeah, and here you can see it's quite small, but you can see also online, we can share the link later on. The red and orange areas are where we are at risk of flooding, or at least having issues when rainwater is really heavy. And that's, of course, more and more with climate changing. So Artis Zoo is in the midst of this kind of challenging area. So we are working with the municipality, but also with the water agency to solve for issues on the streets. So not just in the zoo, but also for the residents around. Also for all the cars that want to pass, or all the ambulances that need to pass. If we have water in the streets, it's an issue for everyone. So what I think is good is that we now have a project where we collaborate with the city, and they will do all kinds of interventions that you can see here in the streets, which means they will adapt street levels, they will adapt different small hills to streamline where the rainwater can go. And also Artis is one of the storage locations there. So for them, we are kind of part of the solution for the water issues that they have in the streets. And we are really seeking to get all that rainwater because it will help our flushing of toilets or irrigations or water for the enclosures. Also, to be honest, we have quite some experience in working with canal water. About 40% of our water now is from the canals. Rainwater is still kind of newish to us. We have one building where we flush toilets with rainwater, but then with 185 years and all the the age of the buildings, it's quite difficult to change the infrastructure. So rainwater is kind of new. We're now working mainly with the aquarium that you can see now on the screen as well. And that's also because of the momentum. So our aquarium is being renovated and will reopen early 2026, which also gives us a huge opportunity to build on flushing the toilets in the aquarium with rainwater, but also to do the whole surroundings in a way that reflects what's inside. So meaning in the aquarium, we have a great opportunity to tell our 1.5 million visitors a year about the relation of us human beings to our water and our aquatic life, of course. But also to reflect that same story around the aquarium. So even if you don't have entrance ticket, you can still learn about the scarcity of our drinking water, how we relate to the water, what visitors individually could do. So the educational opportunity that we see here is a big advantage here. And also the aquarium will still host a lot of fish and aquatic life and corals and all of that. But the main narrative will be around water. So it's really about who is the owner of the water, how can we navigate ourselves towards drinkable rivers, what with all the plastics in the water. So there's kind of 12 stories around water that will be shared within the aquarium and that we also see reflect outside of the aquarium. So we start with the area around the aquarium for the rainwater harvesting. Currently, we're working with the TU Delft, the Technical University of Delft, and also the Hortus Botanicus, the Hortus garden, to see what is the best way to harvest. I've learned from your presentations before there's quite some options. So it can be a technical buffer up to more natural solutions. At this point, we really look to have as much as possible nature-based solutions. So to have wadis and ponds around the aquarium where we can store the rainwater, where we can actually also tell the story about the plants, the edible plants that we want to have in the water, that people can actually taste as well, so that we also bring that kind of education outside of the park. Also, the technical solution of having a tank underground is really difficult in our city center surrounding. So it's also because of the challenging environment, but also I think it reflects really the kind of park that we try to be as natural as possible. I know that, for example, the Hortus that we collaborate with in this project, they chose differently. They want to have buffers above ground where they store the water that they use in the garden. But for us, this is the choice to have more rainwater gardens. And then I think going to the next slide. Yeah. Similar to, I guess, your zoos, we use water on different occasions. So it's animal enclosures. The aquarium uses a lot of water, but also the elephant enclosure, of course, uses 1 million liters of water. Irrigation for all the plants and botanical garden, then in the food and in the restaurants, drinking water, cleaning flushing the toilets and cleaning the buildings everywhere. And then we offer free tap water in the park. So that's where we use water. And then next one, I think, as I mentioned before, about 40% of our water currently comes from mainly canals, and then 5% is rainwater, that we really want to grow that number of rainwater harvesting and bring down the use of our tap water in general. I think last but not least, I'm having support because I'm in Antwerp and I don't have my computer with me. So Beatrice, my colleague, is kindly helping me with the slides there. Thank you. So we also try to look at a more holistic approach of not just focusing on the area around the aquarium, but also more long-term. And this is in Dutch, I'm sorry for that, but I will talk you through shortly. It's not just focusing on the area around the aquarium, but also what kind of interventions can we do in the whole area. So again, working with the municipality, this is helpful in focusing not just the area within the zoo, but also definitely the area around the zoo. And how can we best collaborate also with residents and also with, for example, our public transport agency that has trams running in the street next to the zoo. So that's also why it slows down the project, because we are not in charge ourselves only, we really collaborate. But in the end, that will also make for a more long-term solution where we actually solve the issue of the municipality of having too much rainwater while we solve our ambition to reduce the use of drinking water. So we're also looking to have more ponds, a fourth and a fifth one that you can see on the picture, having bodies also around the main entrance, having a playground where kids can actually play with water and experience water in different ways, having different kind of pavage. So the buffer blocks or the blue blocks are kind of the stones that we're now looking to have that will also delay the water infiltration. So it's more than just having the aquarium flushing toilets with rainwater. Then I think now it's the end. I think we can skip this one. I already talked about the cultural heritage, where we also go back to the way it used to be. And then last but not least, the educational part that I was talking about. I think this is just a great opportunity where most people are not that aware of the scarcity of water and the opportunity that lies in reusing the rainwater. So we're very happy to collaborate with partners that also help us to share that story and to do more of outreach, also in the Life for Zoos, but also more nationally. And really, last but not least, we're really happy to have been granted some investment for the next 3 years, where we can actually start implementing some of these solutions. And the investment comes from the municipality and national government. So that's really going to help us to really move from mission to implementation. I think that's it for now. Thank you for your attention, and happy to see if there's any questions.
Thanks a lot, Savitri. I think that not many zoos in Europe and worldwide is surrounded by water like you, maybe sink into the water like you are. And yeah, I'm happy to have you in and also the advisory board, because there is so many experience you've got, and I hope that also we can transfer some experience others to you, because a lot of those are in the center of the city, and there are these overlaps to municipalities. But are there some questions here in the room?
Yes, I have a question. Is this kind of actions linked to a more broad vision of the zoo, like a biodiversity centers, not only focus on animals, but also in nature-based solution, water, etc.? Is like a new vision or master plan, or is just sustainability actions?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thanks for asking. No, it's definitely part of the Master Plan 2030 that we are running. And as a sustainability lead, I'm working on all of these kinds of pillars. So definitely growing the biodiversity is one of them. We collaborate with the University of Amsterdam and a whole consortium around to monitor, for example, all insects or animals that we have in Artis that are not belonging to our collection, but are part of the, it's called ARISE project, where we have all the modeling and monitor installations in the zoo, but also bird radars, for example. So we also really seek to do a lot of research on how zoos in general contribute to more biodiversity by being a home to non-collection animals. So it's part of a bigger strategy where we want to reduce our energy consumption. We offer all 100% vegetarian food because of the biodiversity. We turn off all the lights at night because we think biodiversity needs a dark night. So it's all these kind of pillars that we are uniting in a master plan, and water management is one of that. Thank you.
If I can add something, yeah, because you mentioned a couple of things that got my attention. The first is that you mentioned something about edible plants. We were involved in a European project that trying to develop natural-based solutions like green walls, but thinking about that the plants should be edible, and that was a nice way to integrate the society. And it's not easy, it's not obvious, especially because we were using regenerated water, wastewater, so it's not even legal. But we saw that some pollutants could be accumulated in the plants. I think so. Well, that's one of the areas, and I like it a lot. This concept of having edible plants to treat wastewater. And the second is that you mentioned that like a playground for kids with water, also at the entrance of the zoo. That's also interesting, but again, I mean, it has to be really, really safe water, not with kids, because they try.
Yeah.
But again, it's a comment more than a question. But I mean that these two ideas are are brilliant, are very good, but also dangerous.
Yeah, I think we all know that education goes through our children to adults. So that's also a way that we try to educate our 4-year-old clients and with them helping to educate their parents. Say. So a playground is just a great location to start education. Definitely it needs to be a good quality. So of course we monitor all of the quality and we do big Legionella, for example, reports regularly, also in the irrigation in the greenhouses, for example, of course. And on the edible plants, we also have edible gardens in the garden where we grow a cabbage, for example, or all kinds of vegetables to feed our animals. And this is just a very great mirroring of that in the water, where if you have halified filters and a good quality of water, of course, not where the animals stay, but a different kind of pond, then you are definitely able to have edible tea leaves, for example, or plants. So that will also help increase our narrative there. Thank you for the question.